Hello, guys and gals, and this is a book review for Battle Dragon City of Thieves by Alex London. Now, I hadn't read any of Alex London's previous works, except maybe The 39 Bones. I read one of the books in that series, and I don't remember who wrote that one. But it did say that Alex London had done a book in that series or something, the 39 Bones series. Um, but anyways, so I was completely new to this franchise. I found this book at a thrift store, actually. I think it was the Help Center up at Rushville. And I thought it looked really interesting. As you can see, it does have a nice art. And I put off reading it for probably half a year, actually. Basically because I had other things to read. And then suddenly I'm like, well, I'll just start reading this one because it looks cool. But yeah. So what is it about exactly? Well, the main character is Abel. I don't know if we ever know Abel's last name, actually, because everybody goes by first names. Um, but anyways, let's talk about the world that this takes place in. This takes place in a fantasy world where basically, in the beginning, dragons basically were really vicious and then fought each other. They basically ate all the lush forest till there wasn't anything left, and they fought and started eating each other till the humans stepped in and like domesticated them. So basically, if you're going to school, your bus is going to be strapped to the back of a giant dragon. Basically, taxis. Dragons are basically taxis. They pull they fly wagons and stuff like that, like freight. And some dragons are basically used for battles. Now, there's a card game, probably similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon, called Dracotech. Now, Abel isn't very good at Dracotech because he's kind of reckless and doesn't really strategize very much, which is a weakness that he's very, very aware of. And he has a friend named Roa. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's like R-O-A. But they are non-binary, so they only go by they. So, yeah. And they're best friends. So there's that. Anyways, I think... Okay, see, it's been a while since I've read this book. I should have like done the review so I would have all the knowledge fresh in my head. But I'm thinking that Abel is in junior high. Now, junior high is probably similar to our junior high, except that they learn dragon stuff. I mean, they work with these bioengineered dragons that aren't really meant to hurt anybody. They're like flightless and they're not really very smart. And they're called ERDs, which I forget what that means. But everyone calls them nerds, you know, they add an N to it. No, they're like educational research dragons or something like that. They aren't really meant to be dangerous. They don't have a breath weapon or anything. But they're just meant to basically help kids learn how to corral dragons and stuff about dragons, I guess. And basically that's their equivalent of PE class, physical education. Anyways, Roa is like, gets straight A's, you know, really, really smart. Abel, on the other hand, basically is barely passing any of his classes. Abel really likes comic books also, and there is a comic book called Dr. Drago, which is probably similar to, from what I've read in the book, Dr. Drago is a lot like, you know, James Bond, you know, kind of really suave, you know, like a superhero. Maybe less like James Bond, more like Superman or something. To the point to where him and Roa say 3WD. What would... Oh, it's W3D. WW3D. What would Dr. Drago do? Which is like their code word to each other. Basically, Abel loves dragons, basically, but he failed his, for some reason or another, he failed his cadet training or whatever, and that's training that everybody takes in order to learn to fly dragons, and maybe eventually, you know, become an enforcer. But Abel, for some reason or another, failed his cadet training, so he doesn't really know how to fly dragons. His sister Lena is the same way. She failed her training as well, but Silas like passed it right away, and that's his older brother. Anyways, the city of Dracotopolis, I think it's Dracotopolis, basically is centered around the domestication of dragons. Think Burke. You know Burke in how to train your dragon 2, I would say. After they, or how to train your dragon 3. After they like domesticated all the dragons, and all the dragons were like living there, except all the dragons were like enslaved and put to work. Big difference there. So anyway, Abel loves to play Dracotech, but he always loses. In fact, he used to play his sister a lot, but he would keep losing to her. So they basically quit playing Dracotech together, because if you lost, then the winner would take your best card. So, and since Abel can't really afford to buy really nice cards, he always loses. But he knows a lot about dragons. His life is kind of thrust into chaos one night. First of all, let's talk about who actually rules the city of Dracotopolis. There are Kens, which are similar to gangs, and they're kind of really cruel. The Red Talons, which is they basically rule where Abel lives. Different Kens rule different parts of the city. Like Roa, the Lightning Clan, or the Lightning Kin, I forget what they're called exactly, but they're like the element of lightning is what they like to use. Basically, they own the area where Roa, Abel's best friend, lives. And basically, you don't really see the Windbreakers much. The Windbreakers, basically, they don't really ever take part in any of the dragon fights, and they just basically cause chaos, because they kind of want everything to go back to the way it was. Anyways, that also leaves the Sky Knights. The Sky Knights are basically, they value justice above all else. The Red Talons value power above all else, and the Lightning faction, they value intelligence above all else. They value knowledge and wisdom. So there's that. Anyways, there's also the Dragon's Eye, which is like basically the police. And they're basically governed by the city council and the government. But the Kins are like, have like an uneasy, some of the Kins have an uneasy alliance with like the Dragon's Eye, aka the police. And so yeah. Anyways, Abel has a really interesting life. After one night, every few months there's this thing called the cleaning. It's where basically they have a bunch of dragons go through, and they put all their trash up on the roofs of the apartments. Now, the apartments are all fitted with dragon-proof glass, so the dragon fire doesn't exactly hurt it. The buildings. The city is also divided into several different... well, they've got the slums and some of the rougher parts of town where the buildings are falling apart. But then there's also some of the really nice, high-end places in the city as well. So it's kind of like, probably like New York, because you have like the slums, and then you have like the really high, the ritzy places. Like, then again, I don't know anything about New York because I've never been there. But anyways, so it's like most towns, I would say. Now, the town itself is surrounded by glass flats, and it's basically just a desert of basically melted sand that is basically formed into glass, because there's always been a lot of dragons out there breathing fire and turning the sand into glass. Anyways, there are different types of dragons too, like wyverns and sunset reapers and widowmakers. There's like ice dragons, lightning dragons, all different kinds of dragons. But the dragon on the front is Sunset Reaper. An equivalent to this would be the Nightwings from Wings of Fire. The black dragons. Are they called Nightwings? Please hold just a sec. been a while since I've read that franchise, so I just had to make sure. Yeah, it is the Nightwings. Um, Sunset Reapers have stars on the underside of their wings, so when they're like up in the night sky, unsuspecting prey can't see them because when you look up, then you think you see the stars, but you're actually looking at the underside of a dragon. Anyways, um, a lot of things happen to Abel and his friends that really plunge them into chaos. Um, but yeah, I think this is part of a series. I'm not sure exactly how many books have been written in this series. I know at least two have, I think, because one of them is City of Speed. This is City of Thieves, not to be confused with the game Sea of Thieves, which I know absolutely nothing about. But there's a reason it's called City of Thieves, but that doesn't become readily apparent until later on in the book. But anyways, this is really a nice jump off point for the book because it really introduces the world. Um, a lot happens, but also a lot doesn't happen. Let me put it that way. Um, it's only about 264 pages, I think. So it is a decent sized book. The chapters are rather long to a certain extent. I mean, we're not talking Daniel X. Daniel X had a lot of really, really short chapters, and there are like 50 chapters in a book, but each chapter is only like 1 or 2 pages. Some of the pages in here make maybe 5, 6 pages. But this book does a really good job of establishing the world, the way that the world works. And so, yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I think the book was really well paced. It was a joy to read, and I'd highly recommend you check it out. It should be at most libraries, or if they don't have it on the shelf, they can probably get it from another library. I don't know. I'm going by what our library does here in Illinois. We have like interlibrary loans, and they can send the request through like a chain of libraries, and then in a few days get a book. The next book I'll be probably doing a review of is a series I'm not familiar with, by Kelly Armstrong, I want to say, about a werewolf or something. It looked really fascinating. So I'll see how that goes. I haven't started that one yet, and I really need to. But I did want to get this review done. But yeah, Dracotopoulos is also really futuristic with like neon signs and what I would say is high tech, kind of high tech stuff. Also, there are dragon battles also, where the dragons can wear armor and like have grenades and stuff like that. Really, really fascinating. Um, the winner of the dragon battle, usually there's like, you know, stakes. So like if whoever wins gets to take like this section of the city, like this city block, or sometimes it could be about anything really. But there's always like high stakes in these fights, and the winner takes the loser's dragons. So that faction gets a little bit stronger, or the faction that loses the dragon gets a little bit weaker. So there's that. Um, but yeah, it's really fascinating to see Abel grow throughout this book. I'm looking forward to reading the second book. I'll probably be able to get it through the library. This is a fairly new book, but shouldn't be too hard to get. Um, but yeah, this book puts Abel in seemingly impossible situations, but finds unique ways of getting him out. I will say that much. Because I'll be reading like, oh well, how is he going to get out of this? And it's really kind of ingenious. But yeah. Did I mention that well, this is book, kind of interesting book. Um, let's see. Abel's best friend Roa is, I think, non-binary is the proper term, and they go by the term they all the time, which is interesting. It's interesting when books include something inclusive like this. It's kind of neat. What I'd really like to see is I would like to see this series, this book series, like made into either like a TV show, maybe, or a movie. I think that the concepts here are really really neat. I think that if the right studio or the right people got a hold of this book, they could probably make something great out of it. You know, and it could get a lot more hype. I mean, I'd love to do something like that, but I don't know anything about making movies. I just like reading, and I think that this would make a really nice movie, or maybe like a short run TV series. Um, Considering this came out in 2021, I think it's kind of new, kind of hasn't been out long enough to actually catch anybody's eye yet. But it would be neat if someone could like take the source material and translate it onto the big screen or even the small screen like TV. You know, if they were able to procure the rights from Alex London or Scholastic. I mean, I think even Wings of Fire and other Scholastic series are being made into movies or TV shows. So I don't see it as being a licensing issue. It's just that people don't know about this franchise yet. If I had the resources and the money, I'd do it, but I don't. I don't make a living wage, so I couldn't buy the rights to this even if I wanted to. But I think that if the right person got a hold of the book and got the rights to the story and the characters, that they could probably do something great with it. But anyways, yeah, I think this is a really amazing book series. Caught my attention. Again, this is a young adult reader. I think it's between the ages of 8 and 13, if I remember right. But it was really, really good, I thought. So yeah, you should check it out if you like dragons. I mean, maybe you don't like dragons, but if you like dragons and if you like the Wings of Fire franchise, you probably might like this one too, except this is more about the humans than the dragons, I would say. But it's still a really, really good book that features dragons. But yeah, again, this is a book that I would highly recommend you check out, and maybe you'll like it too. But again, that's just my opinion. You can either take my opinion or leave it. Either way is fine. That's going to do it for this video. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe, ring the bell so you know I upload. Also, if you want to support me in any way, or if you want to join the Discord server, all information will be in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. You are loved, and have a great day.